Hello everyone and welcome to Robert Armand's Library Orientation. My name is Ezzie Rogers and I am your librarian for nursing. We have a lot to cover in a short amount of time. I will show you different ways to get to the library website as well as the nursing and graduate nursing library guides. We'll cover some basics of searching, including creation of concepts, how to place them in a database search, and how to use Boolean operators. I'll give a quick search demonstration and tour features, and we'll finish up with a few helpful tips for obtaining full text of articles and where you can find additional tutorials. Here are the 3 library pages that you're going to need. The easiest thing to do is plug in these addresses, and I highly recommend bookmarking them so you don't have to dig around for them again. We've got the library homepage, of course. The nursing library guide, which is where I always recommend you guys go to find databases for searching. And the graduate nursing library guide, that actually has the exact same databases, but it has more tutorials on searching that I believe are going to be more useful for graduate students. Of course, in your Canvas, there is a link that says library resources, and just so you know, that takes you directly to the nursing library guide. Know that if you find yourself having to do a Google search for UT Tyler Library or Robert R. Muntz Library, you can get to the guides from there. I'm not going to go step by step on this slide. It's more here for your reference. And you will see me go through this process a couple times throughout this video. Here's the library homepage. I'm not going to get into great detail here. We actually have a Muntz Library YouTube channel, and there's an entire 20-minute video just showing you around the website. I do want to show you support and research help. That's where you're going to go to find my librarian, so on and so forth. You'll see that in a minute. We have a lot of free e-textbooks for the nursing department. Usually we have a big icon of some kind here so that you can find them. Another place we mention the library textbooks is down here, so if you don't see the icon, come to the bottom. In the left, we have all of our contact information and hours. Swoop search, I don't love swoop search. I don't think I'm supposed to say that, but it's a way to do a very general search of our catalog, things that we subscribe to. Databases by title is going to take you to every database subscribed to by Muntz Library. Right now there are 299 of them. The nursing and graduate nursing pages have a much shorter list, and those really are more subject specific, so they're tailor-made for nursing. The journals by title link is something that I think is very useful. This is all academic journals. If you ever just want to browse, or maybe you have found an article in a specific journal and you just want to get to it, you can actually come here and browse by subject. So I'm going to biomedical and health sciences, and then from there I would scroll to nursing. And it's got a list of all of the nursing journals that we carry. You can also, there's lots of subcategories that you can use if one of those disciplines is better for you. So just a quick browsing search. The research guides by subject takes you to a long list of all of our library guides. The page I took you to only shows nursing and health science things. This is every guide made by every librarian. Okay, we have finally reached my favorite part. We're going to work on creating search concepts, and I'll show you how to plug those into search boxes. You start with your PICO question, and each element of your PICO question, your P, your I, your C, and your O, treat those like separate search concepts. I have created a deliberately wordy PICO question, and our goal is to take the essential concepts out of that PICO question and use those as search terms. The biggest problem I see with students' searches is they throw way too many words into the search boxes. Know that a database takes every single word you put in and it searches through the entire content of that database. So the more words you use, the messier your results get. So I always start very, very basic with very, very few words. And if my results are lacking, that's when I start adding terms. So notice that out of that big old wordy PICO question, I have pared that down to my P being type 2 diabetes. Know that health science databases and nursing databases generally have a filter for age groups, so you don't usually have to include the age group in your search terms. I'm just using telehealth. I'm not even going to put in education at this point, again, until I see those results. If I'm not getting education, then I might throw it in. For my C, know that if your C is traditional or standard care, usually don't have to search for it at all. And my O, notice that I've only used HbA1c. I am avoiding terms that might bias my search results. So I'm not saying HbA1c improvement, better control, nothing like that, because my goal is to get fair and balanced search results. If I say HbA1c improvement, I'm only going to get articles that talk about improvement. And the goal is, I'm sorry to say, it's not to find articles that support your hypothesis or support your PICO. It's to look at all of the evidence and decide what the best course of action is. Your PICO research is guiding practice, so you need to look at all available evidence, not just evidence on the outcome that you want. So I've taken that pared down PICO question, I've taken those terms, and I can put those right into the search boxes. This is what the search boxes look like in CINAHL and Medline. There'll be some variation in different databases, but usually you've got a series of boxes. So put your P in one box, your I in the next box, your O in the next, so on and so forth. And then you try that. And if the results are sparse or not quite what you need, then you start expanding your search with synonyms. So if this didn't work out, then I'll start adding, so I've got type 2 diabetes or T2DM, that's a mouthful. And then I've got telehealth. If that didn't give me enough, I will add telemedicine or telenursing or telecare. For HbA1c, I would add glycemic control or glucose levels. You may have noticed that between the search boxes, there was a little and within, like inside the search boxes, my synonyms, my terms were separated by the term or. Well, what are those and what's the appropriate way to use them? We call them Boolean operators. When you put and between your search terms, it's going to get you results that include all of those search terms. And you want results containing each concept of your PICO, correct? So you would use and between each box. Or is a way of expanding a search. It's going to retrieve results that include any of your search terms separated by or. It's a way, that's how you join your synonyms. So use or inside your search boxes to expand your concepts. Not should be used with extreme caution. It completely eliminates whatever term you put after not. It completely gets rid of. So use it very carefully, use it very sparingly. If you run a search and you find that there's some concept that keeps popping up and it's just getting in the way and you don't want it, and it comes up a lot, then you would use not to exclude it. One example in which that worked well for me was I was running a search on respiratory illnesses and the effects of a specific steroid. The researcher did not want anything having to do with COVID, so in that case I used the not COVID to exclude those. But that was a very specific and rare case. I just want to encourage you to use that with extreme caution. Let's show you an actual search. You can use your link in Canvas to get directly to the nursing guide, of course, but I'll show you the long way just so you know how to use it. From the library homepage, go to Support and Research Help. Select your librarian, find my name, then scroll down to the nursing guide. From there, you're going to go to the databases page. Now, I keep using the word databases, and you may wonder, what is that? Why is it even different from a Google search? Well, the biggest difference is how we search, of course. I'm sorry that databases don't use natural language searching. It's what we're used to in Google. But really, the content is so much more different. Your Google search is going to hit your free content. So much of your research literature, unfortunately, is stuck behind a paywall. Publishers charge money to get for access to the research, and libraries pay subscriptions to these databases to get you access to the best available literature. So that's the biggest difference, is you're going to find higher quality literature in here. If you do manage to find it in Google, it's going to be stuck behind something that says, pay $40 before you can access it. Never pay for an article. If you find one and it's asking you to pay for it, reach out to me. I can probably find it for free. And if I can't find it, then we can request it through interlibrary loan. Okay, and that says interlibrary loan. That is a way for us to borrow an article from another library, and it will not cost anything. So, I digressed a bit there. The database we're going to is CINAHL Complete. So click on that. Skip this user ID and password box and scroll down to access through your institution. It would normally ask you to log in with your username and password and authenticate. I have already done that, so it took me right to the database. Notice the search boxes look just like what I showed you in the PowerPoint. If you need more boxes for more concepts, you would just add them there. So let's start plugging in terms. We had type 2 diabetes. Notice that as you start typing, it's automatically going to come up with synonyms for you. I'm not going to use those yet. I'm just going to stick with my original plan of the fewest words possible. Telehealth. Look at all the options it gives me, but I'm sticking with telehealth and HbA1c. Hit search. So for now, it gives me 112 results. But in my left-hand column, I have a lot of different ways that I can pare down, that I can limit my results. Limit to full text references available or abstract available. Please don't ever use this full text limiter. That just means that the full text article is not located within this database. But we have so many other databases that we very likely have it. So if you select that, you're going to get rid of a whole lot of, I refer to these as records. You're going to get rid of a lot of records that might have been relevant to you. So don't use this. If you need to change your publication date, you can just manually put in the year, or you can use your sliding scale. I think it's a pretty good assumption that you want academic journals that is scholarly peer-reviewed, so I'm gonna click on that. Age. I mentioned that most health science databases have a way to limit by age, so I'm gonna say all adult. And that gets me down to 35 results. Not a lot. Ideal is about 50 to 100, but remember that we're using very few terms here. I'm gonna give you a tour of a record. I'm not worried about relevance at this point. I'm just trying to show you the tool. If you want to see your abstract, you can just hover there. The abstract gives you a basic overview, and usually by looking at it, you can tell whether or not this is going to work for you. Sometimes you have to delve deeper into the actual article, but sometimes you can tell from the abstract. If this one looks like something you want more information on, you want to actually look at it, you can click on the title, you can click on detailed record, they'll take you to the same place. So here's the record. Notice that I do have full text available right here. If you have a full text link available, it's usually in this top corner. If you do not see full text something right here, then scroll past your abstract to the DOI. And if you select that DOI link, it will generally take you to the article with the PDF. And I'm closing that out. Basic tour, title, authors, and their affiliation. This is the journal that it comes from, the issue, and all that good stuff. Look at your major and minor subjects, because sometimes those will help you come up with other terms that you can use to improve your own search. Reading through the abstract will give you an idea if this is a good article for you, and it will also help you come up with terms to improve your search. The other thing to show you, if you want to get back to this article, is saving the URL at the top, like in the address bar, which you can't see. I'm sorry about that. If you copy the URL from your web address bar, that is not going to get you back here. You need the permalink. So scroll down a little bit, select permalink. This is what you would copy and paste. I always recommend keeping track of your search, keep track of the terms that you've used, keep track of permalinks for articles that were good. That way you don't have to recreate the wheel every single time. Another good option is to actually create an account. If you hit sign in, it'll give you an option to create an account, and then you can save your searches. You can add relevant articles to a folder. You have a lot more options for keeping track of your search and even getting like notifications for new results if you make an account. This is going to work in all EBSCO databases, so it would work in CINAHL. Creating an account would work in CINAHL, it would work in Medline, it would work in APA PsycInfo and Psych articles, for example, anything that's EBSCO. There's a lot of different ways to save the record. The last thing I will show you is the citation feature. If you select that, it'll show you the different formatted citations. Know that this will get you close, but it is rarely perfect. So you can copy it and use it as a starting point, but you should always go in and verify using your APA guide that they have done it correctly and fix it. To get back to the results list, click there. And let's say I don't like that I only had 35 articles, so I'm going to go ahead and expand my search with synonyms. So this is where I would go in here and start ORing my terms. And notice the database does the work for me. So I may just go ahead and pick one of these. Telehealth or telemedicine. I'm going to get rid of some of these. You don't have to keep them all. You can go, I don't want telemonitoring. I don't want telepractice. Telecare is probably okay. HbA1c or glycemic control. Okay, so it's got the British spelling and the American spelling, or blood sugar or glucose level. We'll use that one. And hit search again. Notice that my results are expanded to 167, but it might have kicked out some of my filters, so go check that. It kept my year. I want academic journals, and I want all adult. So it gets me 75, still better than 35. So that is a basic search. I'm sorry I didn't have time to get into really tweaking it to get super relevant things. Probably what I need to do is add telehealth education or telemedicine education or telenursing education, things like that. That would have made it better. But searching is very iterative. You try some things, and if it doesn't work out, then you try something else. And if you feel like you have tried everything and you are ultimately frustrated, that is when you reach out to your nursing librarian for help. I want to close out with a few things you can do to make accessing full text, getting full text articles much easier. You can set up an interlibrary loan account. There is a one-time setup. Remember, interlibrary loan is a way for us to request a book or article from another library if we do not have it in our collection. Google Scholar provides a simple way to broadly search for scholarly literature, but some resources in the results list will ask for login or payment. If you link Google Scholar to UT Tyler, it will give you access through our library subscriptions. LibKey Nomad is a browser extension that takes you directly to articles or informs you if it needs to be requested through interlibrary loan. Installation and setup for all of these tools is available on the Graduate Nursing Guide. The Graduate Nursing Library Guide also has a page called Foundations of Searching that has all of these different tutorials for you. It also has a shortcut to your Johns Hopkins Evidence Level and Quality Guide and an infographic I made on types of study. It gives you an overview of the types of studies, evidence hierarchies, it defines study types, and even tells you what parts of an article you can figure out to help you figure out what type of study you're looking at. Thank you so much for your time. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. And if it happens to be after hours, there is contact information for the library as well. Remember that there is always a chat service available during library hours.